Let's combat and fight back with maltracks. The war of the minds, they want control of the masses. And Common Core, they dumb us down in the classes. Without knowledge, we can't gain access. Build with the elders, take notes and write classes. We keep whining on the block, how it's gonna stop? Let's start supporting our own, make their supply drop. We buy stocks, then we buy blocks. Cause we know the truth and we tuned in to Dr. Maat.
BB Toomey, BB Fahodier, peace to all of my thinkers, truth speakers, and truth seekers. Welcome to another Truth to Power Talk with your sister, Dr. Maat. Thank you for joining another powerful discussion. And tonight I have with me another powerful guest, but he is no stranger to the community. Student minister, brother, Nuri Muhammad. How are you doing tonight, King?
Oh, I'm doing fine by the grace of the Lord of the worlds, Dr. Maat, and it is an honor and a privilege to share space and time with you, a great thinker and freedom fighter for our people. We salute you, sister.
Ashe, and I salute the NOI, the FOI, for all that you are doing in the community. You know, you all are very active in Baltimore. Muhammad Moss, number 6.
That's right.
That's student minister Carlos Muhammad. And you know, he is very active, you know, in Baltimore. I mean, from helping with employment, drug addiction, family counseling, community cleanups, even just protection, because there's times when I go out and speak and he said, you know, you need some protection there. And the FOI is right there to secure the premises, to make sure that all is well. And so I salute the Nation of Islam for all that they are doing for our people. And so, family, take a moment out to thumb up this video. Thumb up this video tonight. The ministers will be dropping a lot of powerful information. So thumb up this video. Also share the video. Sharing is caring. Let's get this information out there to the people. Also, if you're watching my channel on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, or you're on Facebook watching it, be sure to head on over to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to hit the notification bell so that anytime I go live, you are notified, because I don't know how long, family, I'll be streaming on Facebook. It seems like I get more views on YouTube. And so make sure that you subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Also, if you missed any of my Truth to Power talks, I've created a playlist. So be sure to head on over there to check out the playlist. I've brought on all of the greats. You know, Dr. Wesley Muhammad has been on. Tonight I have on student minister Nuri Muhammad. I've had on Dr. Malefe Asante, Dr. Wade Nobles, Dr. William Darity, and others. So make sure that you check out those discussions. All right. So I know you've been waiting for this discussion, family. We were supposed to do this back in January, but student minister Nuri Muhammad, he had to cancel for personal, you know, reasons. And if you are connected to the community, then you already know why. But this is a topic that has been nearest and dearest, student minister, to my heart. I sit back and I think a lot. My family tell me you're always thinking, you know, and I'm looking at the number of Black men who are committing suicide. I mean, at an alarming rate. And I'm not in, please, I know some sisters watching. Dr. Maat, you talking about the men? You know, if I talk about the men, then the women get on me, you know, and I don't get it in the other way around. But when I focus on the men, the sisters seem to, well, what about us? And sisters, I'm part of the sisterhood. So, you know, I have your back, right? But tonight I do want to focus on the brothers. And I have seen just a rise in suicide amongst Black men. And it's not just like older Black males, right? Black men. It's younger Black males who are committing suicide. And not only are they committing suicide, they have, you know, the murder suicide is coming out. So they're killing themselves, you know, killing the wife, killing the kid. I mean, they're doing a lot of stuff. And so I just sit back, a student minister, and I ask myself, I said, goodness, what's going on here? And a lot of these men are ticking time bombs. It's just sometimes they explode. Sometimes our men hold everything in the way because, you know, men are in our society. You can't show emotions. You got to be tough. You got to be strong. You can't, you know, so. But I'm looking at how this system, when I say stuff, I'm talking about this system, government, media, education, how all of this is taking a toll on our men. It's been taking a toll on our men for quite some time. And one of the things I believe that takes a toll on our men, outside of, the other elements of racism, white supremacy, the image of black men. I remember Dr. not John Henry Dr. Leonard Jeffries talks about
Mhm.
whoever controls the image controls your self-esteem, and your self-respect. And so we're constantly bombarded with negative images of black men. And student minister, my first question to you is why? Why do they demonize black men the way they do in the media? I mean, I mean, we're literally inundated with a
Yeah.
negative portrayal of black men. So let's talk about that.
Well, simple math would should tell us of, number one, the word media is an acronym. It stands for the most effective devil in
Mm,
America.
mm,
So this is the aim of Satan or the devil or the Caucasian rulership. We live in a world that is diametrically opposed to the success and rise of black people in general and the black man in specific. Dr. Maat, that there are more black males born than there are black females. But by the
mm,
time the two reach the age 18, black females outnumber black males 7-1.
mm.
This means that the black male is dying at the rate of an endangered species, as you said in your introduction. And when you study the white tiger or the koala bear or the panda bear or the blue whale, when you study any creature or anything that has ever reached a category of endangered, no species on earth has ever been endangered unless that species was in fact being hunted. And to be hunted means that somebody is intentionally figuring out schemes and methodology to trap and to kill that object that has become endangered. So when you name those different entities, and you can name more, you can talk about the food, you can talk about the air, you can talk about the water, you can talk about the miseducation that produces the self-hatred. You can talk about folklore, making everything white great and everything black
Come on.
negative. Santa Claus is white. The rainbow shows up. Who's at the end of the rainbow with the pot of gold? It's a little white man in a green outfit. When your tooth falls out, who's going to put the money under the pillow? It's some little white girl in a Victoria's Secrets outfit with some chicken wings on her back. Wherever you look, how's love come about? You don't worry about it. Look, a little white baby is going to shoot. So everything that even in folklore has always been white. Everything we learn about ourselves in the history book. We never have been taught anything beyond slavery. It's always from the cotton field to the current or plantation to the present. We don't know anything about ourselves when we were the proud, powerful, pious, and productive people before we were kidnapped and westernized and Caucasianized by this enemy. So this is the reality. The black man is public enemy number one to the dominant figure that controls the planet right now, which is the white man.
Mm.
And because we are their most formidable opponent, they're doing everything they can to keep us in a position of self-hatred. Because as long as we hate ourselves, we will continue to kill ourselves, whether it's a person doing it to themselves or whether it's a person doing it to their other self. Because Dr. Maat, do you know that every black man is the brother of another black man?
Oh, absolutely.
And the base word of brother is other.
Mm-hmm.
So your brother is your other self. So if
Mm.
you don't know yourself, love yourself, and do right by yourself, your other self don't stand a chance. So that is the way of the enemy. He's done a good job with media, most effective devil in America, as sanitizing the image of the white male. But he's done also a good job of vilifying the image of the black male.
Mm.
If you turn on TV or any social media and hear crime, first thing people think about is a black man. But I looked up something before this show. There's a study done with 58,000 federal criminal cases at the University of British Columbia. Guess what they found, Dr. Maat?
What did they find, brother?
White men lead in motor vehicle theft, arson, assaults, fraud, embezzlement, dealing in stolen property, vandalism, weapons charges, prostitution, sex offenses, crimes against family and children, violation of liquor laws, public intoxication, disorderly conduct, vagrancy, curfew, loitering, rape, homicide, and drug dealing and drug using. White men are the #1 criminal on the planet, but you can't tell by the way they sanitize their image and vilify ours.
That's a fact. And I love when you said they sanitize their image, because they've sanitized their image to the degree that people, when they think of good, when they think of all things good, success, love, they think of white people. They think of white folks with the white people. They think of white folks. I mean, they've sanitized their image to the point where people have forgotten who the real enemy is. People don't even view white people as an enemy. They would view you and I. If we go around, they would view us as the enemy before white folks. I mean, that's how I don't want to say beautifully, but that's what's coming in my brain, that they've sanitized their image. I was reading the book, The New Jim Crow by Dr. Michelle Alexander. Yeah. And she said that there was an experiment that was conducted in which the people were asked to close their eyes and imagine a criminal. And they were, and then after they said, well, who did you imagine? 90-something% of the people said, I imagine a black male when I close my eyes.
Right.
And so again, and then even when you think about like these police shootings, right, of unarmed black men, the man is unarmed. He has his hands up and he says, officer, and the officer will still shoot him. And the officer says, well, I fear for my life. I think that's a cop out. But I know that when the officer shot him, they didn't think they were shooting a human being. In that officer's mind, they were engaging with the criminal. So they just shoot. And so what are your thoughts on that, Student Minister Muhammad, about, police shootings and when they shoot our men? Is that what they see? They see a criminal, they see someone that's disposable, and so they just shoot him. What are your thoughts on that, Student Minister?
Well, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he taught us that everything that exists in nature has a natural enemy. Whenever you look at in the ocean, the natural enemy of the goldfish, the minnow, and the smaller fish is the piranha. The chicken natural enemy is the hawk. The cat's natural enemy is the dog. The mouse's natural enemy is the cat. The gazelle's natural enemy is the lion. And the list goes on and on. Well, question is, who are the natural enemy of the black man and black people? And when the math is done, the fact that the white man's history is not written in ink, but written in the blood of darker people, would say that they are and have been our natural enemy. There was a sister, Dr. Maat, there was a study done in 1954 at the Van Dun Conference, where they brought all African and Asian nations together. And at this conference, they were trying to trace down the pathology of when their nations, which were once thriving, began to fall and become other than strong nations. And every single nation that took the witness stand that was African and Asian, they all said that we were doing fine, and then the Portuguese came. We were doing fine, and then the Swedes came. We were doing fine, and the English came. We were doing fine, and the French showed up. We were doing fine, and the Dutch and the German showed up. Every single African and Asian nation that went from strong to weak, from thriving to barely surviving, all of those nations could trace back the origin of their collapse to some intervention of a European nation. Mathematically speaking, when a white man becomes a police officer, most of the time the Caucasian officer is assuming the position where his gun, his badge, and his authority activates in him that natural propensity to be the hyena to the lion, to be that hawk to the chicken, to be that piranha to the smaller fish. They are our natural enemy. And the sooner we get to that realization, the better off we'll be. Many people have been able to survive and coexist well with wild animals, cats, dogs, and all types of stuff as long as they know their nature. They know how to properly relate to them. We too must learn their nature and handle them accordingly so that we can coexist to some degree before God removes all evil from the face of this earth.
Ashe, student minister. So my next question is, and I kind of touched on it a little earlier when I said that Dr. Leonard Jeffries said that whoever controls the image controls your self-respect, they control, your self-esteem, and etc. And so, how do you feel? Because you've been around, I've heard stories. You go in jails and you talk to the brothers, schools. You're definitely connected. And so, these images that are being this negative portrayal of Black men, how do you think that impacts the self-esteem of our brothers?
Well, of course, the reality is that self-worth and self-esteem, they're two different concepts. And we one of the biggest impediments we have is that we are hyper invested in self-esteem and not properly invested in self-worth. The difference between self-worth and self-esteem, see, self-esteem is what you think about yourself based off of how other people see you. But self-worth is what you think about yourself based off of what God said about you and what you know about your people. We have too little knowledge of the rich legacy of our God-centered African culture and too little knowledge of the divine DNA, the holy heredity, and God's genetic makeup that we possess by learning the knowledge of God, which is the knowledge of self. So teaches the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we live too much in the self-esteem category because we are judging ourselves based off of how other people see us. And in the world we live in, it's based upon how white people see us. And as you said, Dr. Maat, that everything Black is negative and everything white is positive. Go look up the two words in the dictionary, my brothers and sisters in the viewing audience. And when you look up white, you're going to find 134 definitions of white. All of them are positive. And you go look up Black and 120 definitions for Black, and almost all of them are negative. A small innocent lie is a little white lie, but a bold deliberate lie is a Black lie. Stock market crash is Black Monday. You kicked out of a group or a fraternity, sorority, you've been blackballed. Bad guys wear black. On the pool table, last ball to go in, black ball. White ball is the cue ball, puts all other color balls in its place on the green felt of the pool table, matching what the earth looks like. Go get you some baked goods from the store. Angel food cake is white cake with white icing and devil food cake, chocolate cake with chocolate icing. You a misfit. You're the black sheep of the bunch. Look at the math. Everything negative, Black, positive, white. So words are powerful. Words are so powerful that when the religious scholars were trying to figure out in organization of scripture what they could do to compare the power of words with something that exists in the universe, look at what they came up with in John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. That means that God, force and power, words have force and power. Same thing God can do, words can do. So we have been inundated our whole life, really on a subliminal level, to think everything that is black is negative and everything that is white is positive. So it's easy for us to look in the mirror and not like ourselves. Do you know I read a statistic, Dr. Maya, that rocked my world about interracial relationships the other day?
Tell me about
There's
this.
no other group of people on the earth that marry outside of their race more than black men.
Oh, I read that statistic a while ago. Yes. Yep.
And
Yes.
what messed me up is that they did a comparison of every other men from every other male from every other nationality, put them together, and we beat every other nationality going outside. But you know why? If you were to interview them and get deep into their mind, you'll find that they don't want a child that looks like them because of the self-hatred they have when they look in the mirror. So we have a lot of work to do to be able to get our people to understand that black is not a color, but it's the essence from which all color comes from. You're not black because you're cursed. You're black because you're first. We are the fathers and the mothers of all art, science, and civilization. Even in martial arts, when you're a beginner, they give you a white belt. But when you become a master in the art, you get your black belt. And then after you get your black belt, you keep on getting new levels. You just get a second degree black belt, third degree black belt. The belt just gets blacker and blacker. We are the fathers and mothers of it all. And the sooner we come to that realization, the sooner we'll look in the mirror, love ourselves, and pick a woman that looks like us. The sooner we'll keep ourselves from out of harm's way from self or from others. The sooner we come to that conclusion, the more we'll love ourselves and do right by ourselves. And since our brother is our other self, he's going to get the same treatment.
Ashe. Ashe. I see student ministers. Some people in the chat were upset when you talked about that statistic. But I know sometimes, brothers, the truth hurts. He's 100% correct about the statistics that show that black men marry outside of their race than any other group of men. I mean, it's a fact. Okay, guys. And so I know you may feel some type of way, but as my grandmother would say, the truth hurts. All right. And so
and you know what, Dr. Maya, look at the kind of soldiers that are attracted to and have an affinity for your show. So these are the kind of soldiers, those of you that are in the audience, you don't have that desire for a woman outside of your race. You are a teacher. You are a leader. You are the example setter. You have to go out and rub elbows with your brothers and make sure that when they come to pick their mate, they stay away from Delilah, the Philistine woman, unless you want to be Samson and wake up one day and all your locks are gone and your strength has been zapped.
Ashe. And so I want to share, and I was talking to you about this backstage. Tina Knowles just dropped a documentary, and I'm going to share my screen, family, with you. Let me make sure I share my audio because they get on me, student minister. Hey, oh, Doc, I can't hear anything. So I want to make sure that can they can hear it. Okay, so I checked the audio, so you should be good. But Tina Knowles is catching a lot of slack right now because she put out a documentary. It says Profile, the Black Man Trailer. Tina Knowles Lawson docuseries aims to debunk, the stereotypes of black men. And so I just want to check out I want you all to check out the trailer with me. I heard of the docuseries and the controversy surrounding the series. Full screen is okay. So it says full screen is unavailable. So we can watch it like this. But yeah, I'll go ahead and play it now. But this is the first time I've seen the trailer. Being honest with you, but I heard a whole lot about the docu-series. But let's check it out. Oh man, so that was a powerful trailer. Like I said, this is the first time family that I've seen the trailer, and it was very powerful. And they tackled a lot of the stereotypes, student minister, that you hear
Good.
about black men. Oh, black men, they're absentee dads. And then here comes an article, and I actually published this article on my IG page that said black men are the most active group of fathers. When you
That's right.
compare, yeah, when you compare
Everybody.
to
That's right.
everybody. Yeah, they're the most active groups of fathers, but the media will paint them out to be deadbeat dads.
Yeah,
It was
that's the thing. Sanitize the image of the white male and villainize the image of us, black male. There's a Boston Globe report from 2015 that Dr. Mike, listen to this.
mm-mm.
There's 1.4 million black men in college. There's 400,000 black men who are single parents. Black fathers ages 15 to 44 have the highest rate helping children with homework and taking them to activities more than any other race of people on the earth. 4 out of 5 black fathers are living with their children and read to them every night. 9 out of 10 black boys have never used drugs before. 1 out of 3 black boys go to college. 5 out of 9 black teenagers have a job. 7 out of 8 black boys will not be teenage fathers, and 11 out of 12 black boys do not drop out of high school. We've never heard these statistics
Not at
before.
all. Not at all.
But the Boston Globe, the Boston Globe, which is a white publication, this is a report they made in 2015. So the reality is that they want to create an image of us being other than what we are, with the hope that we will become other than what we are. See, words don't just describe reality. Words, by the law of substitution, have the power to create a reality. Look at this. In the scripture, anything that God said he wanted, he didn't hope, wish, or think. He spoke it into existence. And God said, let there be light. And God said, let the stars adorn the heaven. And God said, let the firmament cover the earth. And God said, let us make man. In the Holy Quran, there's a verse that says it like this: when God deems a thing, he simply says to it, be, and it is. So they know that if they can put the word out there, just as there wasn't a sun, a star, a firmament, or a man, speaking it can bring it into existence. They're hoping, Dr. Maat, that they can continue to say and project through imagery and words an artificial narrative of the absenteeism of black men in positions of success, greatness, virtue, discipline, and decency, so that they hope that they'll be able to not describe reality, because they're not, but create a reality that they would like to create this negative for us.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree with you more, student minister. And these stereotypes. I mean, again, and I opened up with how I've been seeing an increase in black men. I mean, I know Regina Hall, her son was 26 years old and he committed suicide. And I don't think
Right.
they've discovered the motive yet, or maybe they know what it was, but maybe they know and they just haven't released it to the public. But a lot of black men are committing suicide. A lot of them are now they're doing this murder suicide. I've been seeing videos of them saying, oh, I just shot, my child's mother, or I just killed this person, and then they killed themselves, or they having shootout with police. Do you feel that these stereotypes, the negative portrayal of black men, do you think that all of that takes a toll, I'm sorry, on
Yeah.
the psyche of our brothers? Mhm.
Well, it makes a person mentally unhealthy.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, we are what we put in our mind and what we put in our mouth. And if we put the wrong things in our mind, or we live in an environment that the wrong things are constantly downloaded into our mind about self, and if we're eating bad food on top of that, then the compound of the chemistry of the negative, self-defeating, self-destructive downloads that are being put into the mind, mixed with the poisonous, chemicalized, industrialized, good tasting plastic that they call food, messing us up. is going to do it. And what they found, Dr. Maat, is not only whether it's homicide or suicide, more than 75% of all death is done when someone is inebriated when it comes to Black people, meaning we're high on something. It's alcohol, it's Xanax, it's Oxy, it's heroin, it's cocaine, it's something. We're on some form of substance or drug, and we are inebriated or intoxicated before we commit that act to self or to others. And what causes us to want to drink? What causes us to want to take the drug? It's the desire to escape reality. Well, why do you want to escape reality? Because I live in a reality that is diametrically opposed to me. So it's no illusion or some guess or theory. Black men live under more stress than any other entity that exists on this planet, because we're the only person that everywhere you go, doors lock. Everywhere you go, they like to tell you no. Everywhere you go, they treat you with a predetermined idea that you might be the one that's going to do harm to them. So we live in a stressful reality. So we drink, we smoke, we do whatever. And then, of course, under those influences of intoxication or inebriation, we find ourselves with weapons in our hands doing harm to self and to others.
Absolutely. And I couldn't agree with you more when you talked about how doors close, because that's not only true for today. When you just study the history from chattel slavery to, post-emancipation, during Reconstruction, during Jim Crow, they've always, constructed this reality that was, as you say, diametrically opposed to Black men. They weaponized the law. So there were laws that were created and put in place to make sure that Black men were placed at the bottom of the dominance hierarchy. And so It's like it's always been our reality since we stepped on the shores of North America. And so I'm glad that you pointed that out. I wanted to mention an incident that just recently occurred. And I was speaking with the mother of Slim Jim from Ray Shrumert. And she and I, we converse, a lot via Facebook. And I remember when the story dropped, right? The story dropped that he was arrested for battery. He beat up his girlfriend. He bit her face. He did, it was all these rumors flying around. So I reached out to the family and I said to Bernadette, I said, you have my full support. I heard what's happening. I see what's going on. That the media was dragging him. I mean, demonizing this young brother. And so I saw what was going on, reached out to her, and I let her know, look, if you all, need anything from me, just let me know. And she said, okay, thank you. I appreciate that. But then his charges were dropped, right? Charges were dropped. So it says battery case against Ray Shrummer's Slim Jimmy dropped by prosecutors. But this story wasn't pushed with the same energy of his charges. The story concerning his charges, that was all over the blogs, people making a bunch of YouTube videos about it. They're on podcasts talking about it, and articles are circulating online. But when his charges got dropped, where was the same energy to clear his name and say, hey, we made a mistake? Not even made a mistake. The charges have now been dropped. He's innocent. And, but the energy was different when people thought that he was guilty. And, if you're a Black man, by default, you're guilty, right? So people, he did it. Oh, he did it. It's a shame. His career is over. But then when the charges were dropped, no one said a word. It was a couple of articles that came out. Mm-hmm.
That's too much like right, what you're talking about. That's too much like right for them to actually put the same energy into showing that they made a mistake. Because at the end of the day, they are all brothers to one another. Judge, prosecutor, the investigator, the arresting officer, all of them are brothers of one another. So they look out for each other. And if me as prosecutor, white man talking, is going to look bad, then my media white brother, they don't have to call and say, hey, look, don't cover the story. It's just their connection to one another and their desire to protect the sanitized image of the white male that is automatic for them. They automatically look out for each other. We need to start automatically looking out for ourselves like they do.
Absolutely.
No other people on earth that have to be told by black. You don't hear white people talking about by white, or Asian people talking about by brown or by yellow. We're the only people that have to be constantly commercialed and marketed to buy black, shop with your brother before you shop with another. We have to constantly have a campaign for us to do for ourselves what nature has put in everybody else to do for themselves, which is a sign that we are operating outside of our nature. Because if we were in our nature, we wouldn't have to be taught to be like we should be to ourselves. That's why they didn't report it, Dr. Maat. That's too much like right. That would mean that they would be willing to admit a mistake that their brother made. And that could possibly be a strike against the sanitized image that they've been promoting.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I want to spend at least the last 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes or so before we close out, speaking about how these stereotypes and this negative portrayal of Black men, how that impacts Black male-female relationships, because it does, right? So it impacts the male self-esteem. But then I want to bring the Black woman into this, right? Because these are her sons, these are our sons, these are our fathers, our uncles, our brothers, right? That we have to watch it, watch this happening to. And then for the sisters, and I'm not talking about the divestment sisters, I'll address them. These sisters running around here talking about we need to divest in men and all this other crap. But Sister Shahrazad Ali and I addressed them last year, and I plan on addressing them again this year. But how does that impact Black male-female relationships?
Well, think about this. See, what happens there, the mother, a mother and the female is by nature loving, compassionate. She's the caregiver and the natural nurturer of her child. The function of a mother is the bringer into existence, the nurturer and the evolver of their child, stage by stage, until that child reaches their eventual perfection. That is the role of mother, like the role of God for the planet. Mama is really God in baby language. So teaches the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So when a mother has that kind of natural love and compassion, she knows she can't achieve the goal of getting her son where she wants them to be unless that son is alive. So the enemy, just as they did on the plantation, they punished unjustly Black men for certain things so that they would be able to get Black mothers to begin raising their children to be whatever was non-offensive to white people. And in that sense, mothers with their children, mothers with their sons, tell them to act a certain way, talk a certain way, be a certain way, even though the way that they're telling them to be is not necessarily right or wrong. It's just more comfortable to get around white people and be safe. So that is a form really of feminizing their son, punking their son, making their son think that in order for them to move and navigate in the world, they have to live a life pleasing the white people. So that is a very is really an environmental condition imposed on a Black mother. But a wise Black mother would teach their children, look, you stand 10 toes down.
Come on.
And if somebody aggresses you, I don't give a damn if they got a badge, a gun, or whatever they are. You are a man. And you stand on that principle And since you are who you are, as long as you're right, God will be with you and you stand firm on principle. But that's not the case. So it's something that's deep, Dr. Mayat, because you want your child to be safe. And in doing so, we end up punking them to try to make them non-offensive to white people as they navigate through the world. It is a practice from slavery that is the extension of buck breaking.
Come on.
That they had mothers do for the love of their son, keeping them in a state of brokenness. So it is important, as a woman, particularly as a mother, that you become that most significant positive soundboard that your son can bounce off goals, dreams, aspirations, and ideas off of. And it's imperative that you teach that young black boy, look, you got to be a soldier. You've got to be a warrior. Because when you move through this world, white people will not like you. And if you want to be successful, if you want to get something done, you have to go out there with the mindset of a warrior, because it's not life for you, it's warfare. And if we soldier our children up, they'll be able to deal with the opposition as they should and be successful. But to punk them, to break them, to make them weak, docile, more user-friendly for white people to handle is not the way that a real mother should do things.
No, absolutely. And what about going back to, and I guess I wasn't clear on my question, student minister, how does the negative portrayal of Black men impact intimate Black female-male relationships?
Well, of course it does, because if a man doesn't feel like a man by being a productive member of society, see, it is in the nature of a man to be maintainer, to be protector, and to be provider. But the social, political, and economic system of this world is set up in a way that it denies the Black man avenues to be able to be fruitful in the way that he can be provider. And it denies him access to being maintainer and protector. So whenever that Black man has been weakened, you'll find that he starts looking for any area that he can find to conquer, where he can express power, and it produces physical abuse, verbal abuse of the woman that he's with, or running around trying to play with a whole bunch of women, because at the time of sexual intercourse is the only thing in life that he has to feel some power. So I'm not powerful unless I'm pushing you down with words. I'm not powerful unless I'm pushing you down with my fist. And I'm not powerful unless I got you underneath me inside of a bed. And that becomes the modus operandi for the expression of power, and to have that man in a position of authority, because all of the legitimate proper avenues to make him maintainer, protector, and provider are missing. Thus, he becomes I don't want to say a no good, but he becomes a bad man with a good woman. And that is why the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that to be a man, you got to meet a man. And men sharpen men like steel sharpens steel. And that's the threat that they have when you see a man like Farrakhan. Because he's a man that says what he means. He does what he wants to do. He doesn't bow when he didn't drop nothing, scratch where he doesn't itch, laugh when ain't nothing funny. He doesn't compromise, capitulate with the enemy. He is a model example of what a man should be. And they don't like that image. So they are engaged in this conspiracy of silence now, to try to act as though the minister doesn't even exist, because they don't want people to be touched by his example and explanation, and it activate in that Black man their militant propensity that would allow them to successfully navigate in the world and be a maintainer, protector, and a provider. Because guess what happens? That means no more womanizing, no more physical abuse, no more verbal abuse. Next thing you know, you got a strong Black family. And when you have a strong Black family, it produces a strong Black community. When you have a strong Black community, it produces a strong Black nation.
Ashe. Ashe. Thank you so much for that, student minister. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy speaking to you this evening. I think this was this was a dynamic discussion. And I told you I wasn't going to hold you long. I don't do shows. I know some people go for 2 hours, an hour. I say no, at least about 50 minutes to an hour. I think that people will sit and watch. But anything over that, our attention spans are just, extremely short. But thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us tonight. Do you have any closing words for the listening audience?
Well, I would say, first of all, my appreciation and thanks for you sacrificing your time and your energy and your resources to even put this platform together. And I would hope and pray that all of the soldiers, all the men that are tuned in right now, that you will start working on yourself to put at bay the self-defeating, self-destructive commands that have been installed into our consciousness, and operate in the world as the God you're born to be, and continue to be productive, continue to work on your health, continue to shape and mold your mind, continue to love and respect the Black woman, continue to look out for children and treat every other Black child as your niece and nephew, because if we brothers, my son is your nephew and your daughter is my niece.
Ashe.
And if we do that, and sisters, thank you for being patient with us. But as you can see, shows like this, teachings like this, one day soon, we will be that man that we're supposed to be and make a good match for you, that you and I can come together, Black men and Black women, to bring ourselves back to the top of civilization where we're supposed to be.
Ashe. I need to drop a bomb for you, minister. You got to come back. You have to come back. We have to do this again.
I will be on anytime.
Yeah, look, I know you're big time now. His brother's on the Breakfast Club. You're going everywhere. I heard from and peace to and many thanks to Captain Andrew.
Yes,
I've reached out. Yes. I've reached out to him. Captain Andrew, I need to get so and so on the platform. Could you get in touch with so and so? All right, sister, I got you. So he called Dr. Wesley Muhammad for me. Can you get in touch with Student Minister Nuri Muhammad for me? So he made sure he called. So I do want to take some time out to acknowledge Captain Andrew Muhammad, for making this happen. He told me when I called and requested you, he said, do you know that Student Minister Nuri Muhammad is one of the most requested speakers, he said, within the nation? And I said, no. He said, yes, we get a lot of calls for him. So I know that you are a very, very busy person. And so I thank you, from the bottom of my heart for you being out, taking time out of your busy schedule to be with my listening audience, to be with myself and in my listening audience tonight. So I thank you. We have to do this again. Once I play, and I meant to say this, I meant to convey this to you before we went live, but don't go anywhere, okay? Because I wanted to chat with you just briefly when we close out. All right, so family, thank you so much for tuning in. Tomorrow I will be live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Read Book Club. We're reading The Color of Money by Barry Darren. We're in chapter 5. Last week, we talked about the New Deal policies and how those New Deal policies that were created by Franklin D. Roosevelt and his administration, how that shaped American life that we know today. It created white suburbs and Black ghettos. So tomorrow, we'll be discussing chapter 5. And right now, I'm having a brain freeze. I can't even tell you what chapter 5 was about. But even if you don't have the book, haven't read it, don't, have the book and didn't read the chapters, join in, because I'm telling you, you'll take something away from the discussion. So join me back here tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. If you don't tune in tomorrow and I don't see you, I don't hear you, or you don't see me, we don't connect, have a black-tastic week. Peace.
Dr. Maat, may I tell everybody, I forgot to mention tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern on NOI.org, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be delivering possibly his last message publicly, 2 p.m. Eastern, NOI.org. If you like anything I had to say today, you're going to love everything he has to say tomorrow.
I'll be tuned into that. So thank you so much for putting that out there, student minister. I'll definitely, you said it may be his last speech. So I'll definitely be tuned in, have him on my television and sit back and just take in everything. I love when I hear him speak. It's something about when he speaks. And I've been following him since I was a teenager in the 90s. And so I do appreciate the minister for his wisdom. And as you stated, his example of manhood. And so I'll definitely be tuned in. So family, make sure you tune in. All right. Peace and Black Power.
Let's combat and fight back with maltracks. The war of the minds, they want control of the masses. And Common Core, they dumb us down in the classes. Without knowledge, we can't gain access. Build with the elders, take notes and write classes. We keep whining on the block, how it's gonna stop? Let's start supporting our own, make their supply drop. We buy stocks, then we buy blocks. Cause we know the truth and we tuned in to Dr. Maat.